Hi and welcome to this session. I'm Phil Fox, Principal Customer Success Advocate with Adaptavist. Today I'm going to take you on a short journey to explore some of the ways in which Scriptrunner can help you supercharge your service management solutions. Before we go too far, let us first of all familiarise ourselves with the all too familiar scenario. We've got users who are reporting new incidents, system monitoring that's kicking up alerts, a wonderful resolution team that are all busy solving the problems. But sometimes we need to do remedial actions to clean up after an incident or problem. And of course there's always the business as usual with service requests and change requests that are taking place. Today I'm going to focus on incidents, alerts, problems and the remedial actions that are taken around those. So let's focus on three key areas and how Scriptrunner can help you improve that efficiency. We're going to start with the triage process. Then we're going to reduce noise. We're all very familiar with the amount of emails that we all receive from Jira, and so let's have a look at how we can reduce some of that noise. There's also a focus on information, making sure that we have the right information to enable us to make the right decisions at the right time. And finally, I'm going to give you a little report card of how one organisation implemented the changes that we go through today and what that meant in real world savings for them. So starting off with triage. It's a major activity in any service management organisation, and anything we can do to improve the efficiency of this process will clearly be of great benefit. Today we're going to look at approaches that work whether you're using Jira Service Management or Jira software for your service management. Firstly, with JSM, there are queues of activity that you'll need to manage, whereas if you're using JSW, you might have a simple Kanban board of incidents and problems to deal with. Before we get too far with this, I should tell you that all of the instructions and all of the assets and all of the scripts for everything I'm going to show you today can be sent to you by sending me a simple email at the end of this presentation. So let's quickly remind ourselves of what is triage. The aim is to resolve all reported incidents or alerts as quickly as possible, ideally by the first line support team. If that's not possible, we should be linking to existing problems or creating new problems for the second and third line teams to deal with. But sometimes we might have to consider the possibility that a problem has recurred, or just possible that the reporter has only just got around to reporting an incident that is already resolved. All of these are the ways we handle triage, and anything we can do to speed up this process will have benefits. So let's look at some simple JQL. Well, maybe not so simple, but something that uses the power of Scriptrunner to help in that respect. So here what we're doing is we're using the issue function with the has links, and the has links here is using the ability of Jira to have custom links. And the custom links we're looking at here are incident for problem and alert for problem. And what we're able to do is look for all issues that are incidents or alerts that are not already linked to a problem and have not been resolved. But then we're also going to give ourselves the list of problems, both of ones which are still waiting to be solved and those that have been resolved in the last 7 days. Looking firstly at Jira Service Management, we can use that JQL to create a new queue. Once we've done that, of course, we can also customize the columns shown to include both the issue type and the linked issues. If you're using Jira software, we can of course have a Kanban board, and here we might use the JQL as a quick filter to draw the focus of our attention on the key tickets that we need to work on. So let's have a quick little demo just to see this in action. So here I am, I'm in the board configuration of Jira software, and we can see the JQL is already entered. So when I go back to my board, and here I've got some examples that are already in place, there's lots of things going on. I can click on triage required, and what happens is it focuses down just on the open problems. We can see that at the moment there are no incidents available. Let's create a new incident. call it a demonstration incident because I'm not feeling very imaginative. And what we'll see is that that demonstration incident immediately appears in our triage required on our Canva board. Now, for those of you working with Jira Service Management, we can do the similar thing here. So here we have our triage required. And just to prove to you that it is the same JQL, we'll just edit the queue. There you can see exactly the same JQL, but this time I've also modified the columns to show what's there. So save that. You can see we have our first problem. Let's create a new problem. An incident. This is our demonstration incident. Just the same as what I did before in Jira Software. Create. What you'll see there takes a little second to refresh, and it's now there in my triage queue. So let us now think about how we move on. Having focused on the tickets of immediate concern, let us look at how we can make that a little bit simpler. An incident that is not related to a current or even a recent problem would require us to go through the steps of cloning, moving the new issue to a problem issue type, remembering the original incident, and then revising the link from a clone to a more realistic description. Whilst this is all reasonably simple to do, it all takes time. So let's have a look at how we can simplify this down to a single action. And to do this, we will use the Create Constrained Issue feature of Scriptrunner for Jira. Here we can see how we can alter the user interface of on-premise Jira installs and add a new option in the Operations menu. All the other options are still there, they're just now under the more pull down. To implement this functionality, we have two parts. The first is the behaviour, which not surprisingly defines what is going to happen. Again, just a little reminder, this script is available as part of the supporting material for this session. The second part is a script fragment to decide where this helpful piece of functionality should be displayed. In our examples, we're going to place it in the Operations menu, but you might choose somewhere else. So having created one quick button, let's create a second one, this time for creating the remedial actions. Although this time we're going to make it available on incidents, alerts and problem tickets, so not just restricting it to the incidents and alerts. So let's just see this in action, this use of the constrained create issue. Here we have our demonstration incident. I can click on here and we'll see we have both create problem and create remedial action. Alternatively, I can go into the details of the issue and we can see we have create problem and we have create remedial action. I'm going to do create problem first. And you'll see that what it does is it creates it in the project of issue type problem, and it creates a summary that just says where it came from. Obviously, you would change this and amend this to make more sense for you. And if I click create, then what you'll see is already what we have is the problem is created and linked straight away, much easier than cloning, etc. Just to prove it works, let's do the remedial action as though we've got something to clean up. And we can create, and there's our remedial action. Very quick, very easy. So having focused a little bit on the triage step, let's now have a look at how we can reduce some of the noise. I'm sure all of you are aware of how much noise can come from Jira, especially if you do not tweak and adjust the default notification scheme. One of the first challenges is keeping all the incidents in line with the problem. If a workaround is recorded on the problem ticket, we need to have an easy way to make sure all the related incidents are updated. Whilst we can do this easily in Jira Service Management with the standard automation rule, we're going to implement a slightly more comprehensive solution that also works in Jira Software, which retains a history of the workarounds that have been communicated to the reporters of an incident. As a problem evolves, it is not uncommon for the workaround to be refined or even completely changed. And here we can see the workaround history on an incident. The link to the problem, EE5 in this case, the workaround text, and the timestamp that this workaround was added. The way we implement this is to use Scriptrunner's listener event. A Scriptrunner listener listens for an event, and once an event takes place, in this case issue updated, it triggers the script that is seen below. This script literally looks and says, okay, so the issue has been updated. Was it the workaround that was updated? If so, copy that information to all of the linked incidents associated with this problem. Relatively straightforward, but what it also does is it puts the metadata in of the problem and the date and time into the history in each incident. So we've taken this a little bit further than what you get with Jira Service Management. So let's have another little demo. This time we're going to look at how problem, here we see the one we created from EE17. And we're going to see some of this later, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a workaround. So I go into my workaround. That's all good IT people. So we'll go with reset and try again. Standard update in the first instance for an incident. The workaround is now entered. You can see it here. If I go into our demonstration incident, you'll see that there is the actual reference and the time and date stamp. In the first section, we looked at improving triage, and then we've looked at sharing information from problems to incidents. But now let's focus on some of the information which helps us to make decisions. And by this, we're going to look at keeping a track of the number of linked incidents and alerts that are associated with the problem. This is something which is really important when you have an escalating major incident. And so what we're going to do is we're going to think about this in terms of handling the multiple links. And here is an example that shows you what I mean by that. Here we can see that we have a problem, and that problem has one alert and 3 incidents, but it also has a remedial action. But let's focus in on just those alerts and those incidents. Here we can see that there is 1 alert and 3 linked incidents. Now, if you have a major incident, it's not unusual for the number of reported cases to be measured in the tens, if not hundreds. Now, certainly you don't want Jira to be sending you a notification every single time one of those is linked. So let's have a look at how we can address that. Many of you will be familiar with the Fibonacci series that's used in Agile for story points. You might not know it by the name Fibonacci, but you'll be familiar with it, where the numbers are the sum of the two previous. So we can use this approach to help us manage our process of notifications. But a few things we need to decide is, are alerts and incidents the same level of focus? In the demo script available to all of you after this presentation, we use the ratio of 1 incident to 10 alerts. But I could easily imagine scenarios where this is reversed. Again, in the demo script, we've just added a simple comment onto the problem ticket. But how about updating the notification to your favourite instant messenger tool, or sending an email, or doing whatever is right for you? Now that you have this information available, you can easily use it to keep folks informed. But what if you have a major incident process and one of the things that you want to do is have a war room in your instant messenger service? I'm going to assume Slack. So how about you have a trigger which says when the number of linked incidents and alerts reaches the trigger level of 55, create a war room for this problem in Slack. Is that something which would be of benefit to you and your organization? Think about what you can do in that respect. Let's create a couple of scripted fields. These operate on the problem ticket and are updated every time the problem ticket is updated or viewed. In our case, we are particularly interested in where there is a change to the number of linked issues. A word of caution here though, that if you have large numbers of scripted fields, be careful how you include them in JQL and reports and dashboards, as they can be a processor intensive operation. A couple of things to notice: when you select and create your scripted field, make sure you select the number field for the template. Now that we have our custom fields keeping a track of how many alerts and how many incidents are linked to a problem, we need to make sure that we have something in place to process that information. And once again, Scriptrunner's listeners functionality comes to our aid. This time, what it does is it reads the value of the problem ticket, it looks at the values that are stored in the 2 scripted fields, and if appropriate, it triggers an announcement and then updates the numbers ready for the next time through. So here we can see our problem has already got 1 linked incident and we can already see an announcement has been made 4 minutes ago in that respect. So let's add some more links. We're just going to say these are the problem and these are for the various incidents. And so I'm just going to quickly connect lots of incidents that I've already got set up. So you can see here I'm going to add 4 more incidents and I link those. What you'll see is they're now included in the links. You'll notice that the linked incident scripted field has already been updated, and the listener will now trigger into action in the back end. We can also add some alerts. Again, I've got a couple that are already set up. Those. Again, you'll notice that the alerts field now updates along with the linked incidents. Let's do a quick refresh of the page. We can see now that we've got our announcements have come through. We can scroll down, and here we can see that we've got a notification of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can now see how those notifications are being added automatically as we add more links. If I was to add more alerts, then that would also impact the frequency of which these alerts come out. The last section for today is actually to give you a little insight into the actual real-world savings of an organisation. This was a small organisation that runs a service desk handling on average 20 incidents and alerts every day. The box at the bottom gives you their total scenario and gives you more insight into what they're doing. But you can see from this that even the simple implementation of what they did, which took them about 4 hours to implement, returned over 10 times that in efficiency gains over the first year. And they've gone on to extend this and do lots more things and have cut back that time. You can see what time it would save you by replacing the benefit times and the yearly occurrence for you and just doing a simple calculation. We hope you found this useful and gives you real insight about how a relatively small change such as the single action problem creation, which saves you 45 seconds, when repeated a number of times over a year, can give you great savings. So in this presentation today, I've tried to show you how Scriptrunner can help you improve your service management operation by automating away some of the pain points that you may be experiencing. We hope you'll find this will be your everything for automation. So thanks for taking the time to watch this demonstration today. Hopefully it's triggered a few thoughts for you in terms of what you might or might not be able to do. If you want a copy of these slides or even the assets and scripts, just drop me an email at pfox@adaptavist.com, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thank you.